I'm Paul Rushworth-Brown, host of History Bards, Down Under Interviews, and Meet the Author in the US. And we're here with one of my favorite authors, Dee Marley. Dee, welcome to the show. So, Dee, you've written two novels, well, I know you've written more than two, but Kingfisher and Antipodes. Your story begins with women retreating into myth to escape reality. Do you see this as a refuge from reality?
Yeah, actually, I do. And I think one of the things that, really drew me to the story was that writer, we're always trying to find ways to escape.
Before the war, there were stories. A world imagined where myth felt safer than reality. But some stories are not meant to stay imagined. And then she fell. She didn't just cross into another world. God, she became part of it. She had a life and someone she couldn't leave behind. Some stories demand a price.
And I think a lot of writers throughout history have done that. You think about the Bronte sisters and, Jane Austen, the times that they were living in weren't favorable for women. So trying to find a way to escape. And I kind of played into the whole notion of the idea of, the stories of Little Women, whenever that was written, same kind of scenario. So you have like five sisters there, and they were always going up to the attic. And
As soon as I heard the word Outlander, my ears pricked up, right?
Yeah.
Because that's one of my favorite shows. There's been quite a few authors that I've interviewed lately that have sort of like delved into that sort of like time travel story. What's the attraction?
Fascination with me is I'm a huge fan of H.G. Wells. And so whenever I was reading his stories, it just happened that the time period that I was writing about, I was able to incorporate that he lived during that time. And he was very well connected to a lot of the well-known people that was, some of the politicians and some of the well-to-do people of the day. And so I was kind of able to envelop, the whole idea of time travel by using him as one of the characters as well. And so I don't know, there's just always a fascination. I think when you think about people really wanting to go back to a better time or to go back in time and to change things, I think we've all felt that. There's always things in our past that we would love to go back and change. I would love to go back and change the fact that I lost my daughter. And, so we're always thinking about that. And especially as writers, we have the ability to take a story like that and say, well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go back in time in this story and see if I can change something. So that's where it all came from.
All right. In Kingfisher, Camelot isn't just fantasy; it becomes real. So what were you exploring about those stories that we believe in?
What I was trying to explore is the tagline for the Kingfisher is fairy tales to some is history to others. And sometimes fairy tales are history King Arthur may have really lived back in ancient times. You think about how had some credibility. Years, people like Tennyson or some of the other writers that I mentioned in the story may have were actually taking from actual history instead of it being just a fairy tale.
The character Vala, she doesn't enter into another world, she becomes someone else. When does she lose her identity?
In the story, I talk about how if a person stays too long in the past, how they start to forget. And so there's a danger of staying too long in the past and just completely losing one's identity. And some of the characters actually do that. And and I'm not going to give that away, but some of them do that. But the premise is there's a scripture that says a day for a year. And so I use that for every day or for every year that passes in the past, it's only a day in their real life.
I can tell your eyes sort of like light up when you start talking about time travel. So it obviously makes you Yeah,
we
excited.
all had passion after Diana Gabaldon did her books. I think we all became really fascinated with the idea.
Yeah. Your characters step into legendary roles. Did you find? I mean, were you influenced by? I mean, there's been numerous movies and films about King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table and all that type of thing. Were you influenced by any of those at all?
Definitely Marion Zimmer Bradley, primarily The Mists of Avalon. That's one of my. I've read that book so many times, and I know she was a little bit of a controversial author. That some people, won't read her books for particular reasons. But I read it years ago, back whenever I was a teenager, and so it definitely influenced this. I always thought that they were incredible, the way she wrote those stories.
Yeah, right. So at the heart of the story, there's this sort of like, I suppose, pull from between love and destiny. Do you believe those two things are incompatible in the novel?
In the novel, yeah, she struggles with that. She struggles with what she has to do and what she wants to do. And because as Vivian, as the Lady of the Lake, she has a responsibility that goes beyond what she wants to do as just Vala. As Vala, she just discovers that she just wants to live and to find love. But as Vivian, her responsibility to save Britain is like the foremost thing. And for her to make sure that King Arthur rules. And as Vala, she becomes, the struggle becomes so real because 1940 out, and she's desperate to find a way to help the king then. And so it's she has all of these internal struggles, and then she has to deal with her sisters that they're all travelers, and in those personas, she has to struggle with balancing how to take care of her sisters, and she's fighting her the sister that's nearest to her in age. She has a twin, and that's Igraine, King Arthur. But the next one is Morgan, which is Morgan Le Fay. And so they have a very terrible relationship, even in their 1914 life. But whenever so she has this constant struggle with her and for trying to find peace, and she's constantly wanting to cause chaos.
Do you think Vala grounds Taliesin?
Very much so. Very much so. And I think vice versa. He kind of opens her eyes to this whole other world, but she definitely grounds him because, and I don't want to give anything away, but because of his history and what he's having to deal with within his own family as far as time travel goes, he's dealing with a father that, that he can't reach. And I don't want to give anything else away, but so he's struggling with that as well.
So, do you think that these characters, do you think they're shaping history, or are they trapped inside it?
A good question. I guess we'll find out as the series develops. That's my ultimate goal in all of this, is to, as the series develops, to see how that plays out.
I mean, were you more interested in the power itself, in getting that across in the novel, or the people who carry it?
A little bit of both, but I definitely wanted to try to expose what was really going on during 1914. There was a lot more going on than a lot of people know. A lot of power plays, a lot of secret meetings, a lot of well-to-do, very rich men who would, and this was very true, this is actual historical fact about the groups that were formed during that time, the secret
evil,
societies,
or the monsters
that were formed during that time,
that story,
that were influencing a lot of things that were happening.
Are they created? So in other words, are they created by their environment?
I think they, because of their positions, whenever it comes to like the men that were like involved in those power struggles and everything, I think because of their positions, they just kind of leaned more into the power hungry and, manipulating and knowing that they can, wield their hand against, women and against other countries. It just, and because it had to do with money and greed. And but then whenever you get into my second book, which is Antipodes, you're talking about Vala's mother and aunt, and they're on. I'm still doing that about the reasons why one favored the evil over the good. So it's a developing story, and it became more of like a Cain and Abel situation, and I think that's the best way I can describe it. Is not only with Vala's mother and aunt becoming that way, but also her with her sister, Morgan. And so it's very much a Cain and Abel struggle of one being favored over the other and one having an ability that the other doesn't have. And so those kind of things, it all plays into kind of the underlying struggle of the bigger struggle, because then you have Germany and Britain who are going against each other during the war. So you have an evil and a good there as well. So I was trying to like have it all play out.
Yeah. Moving on from that, the sisters begin sort of like united, don't they? And then that love sort of like turns into rivalry. You just want to make comment on that?
Yes. So I think whenever they start discovering some of the secrets that are woven in throughout the story, it causes a lot of conflict. Morgane has a lot of abandonment issues, not feeling loved like her other sisters. It's the same way with Antipodes. Both of the girls feel abandoned in certain ways or not good enough. So I try to pull all of that into the story.
What questions were you trying to answer? And did the answer to those questions, did they change while you were writing?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. Trying to find peace in a crazy world, and feeling the weight of responsibility of wanting to change something and you can't, of the Victorian age that was, this beautiful time that was peaceful, the Gilded Age, everything was good. And then all of a sudden they're thrown into this just chaotic nightmare and they can't do anything about it. And Vala and her sisters, their father goes back off to the war to serve in the war, and their mother is losing her mind. And so they're thrust into responsibility that they don't know how to handle. And yet Vala takes on the greatest responsibility because she feels responsible. She feels like that she needs to take care of them. And that's a weighty thing to have to deal with. So that was the questions that I had to begin with, but it's definitely changing as you go on, because, sometimes the reality is that you just can't change things. And no matter how hard you try, some things change irregardless around lives on.
I wish I could change some things that were going on at the moment in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dee, this is my favorite part of the interview. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you 10 quick fire questions, all right? And you just answer the first thing that comes to your mind, all right? So first question, destiny or free will?
Well, we have free will.
Love or power?
Love.
Would you step through the portal knowing you might not come back?
No.
Is it more dangerous to rewrite history or to leave it unchanged?
To rewrite it.
Are we shaped more by who we are or who we're told we are? Are we shaped more by who we are or who we are told we are?
I think I'm going to just say that depends. And I think it has a lot to do with how you were raised.
When she was on the show.
Because some people are influenced by what they're
told. I
want
to answer both.
Which is unfortunate. But I think it should be by who we really are.
Okay. Are monsters born or made?
I'm going to say made.
One word to describe Taliesin.
Very wise.
1914 Wales or Camelot?
Definitely Camelot.
What costs more, love or destiny?
Love.
Okay, so Dee, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Some of you might not know, but Dee's also my publisher.
Yes.
And you're doing an amazing job. And I know you work so hard for all the authors at Historian Press. And just on behalf of everybody, I just want to thank you for all the hard work that you do.
Oh, that's so sweet. It means a great deal to me. All of y'all mean a great deal to me. And, as long as I can be here, every day at my desk working for y'all, that's what I intend to do.
Yeah. So thanks very much for being on the show. And congratulations on your new series. And I wish you the very best with it.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it.